What's going on YouTube? This is yours truly, Dre the Plug, coming at you live with some more technical heat. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button below. Make sure y'all hit that bell button below so y'all can stay notified every single time I drop new technical heat. But let's get back into these interviews. Roll the clip.
Hi everyone, my name's Roxanna. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Andre. I'm currently a software engineer for Microsoft. I was a cybersecurity and networking major. I'm really excited to get into what I do and how I got there, and I hope that you'll enjoy my journey.
Okay, so Roxanna, what exactly made you want to jump into this field?
So I actually didn't know I wanted to get into this field until I joined the military. I joined on an intelligence contract, and that's what I did for 5 years. And it opened up this whole world of IT and computer systems, intelligence, programming, databases, you name it. And I fell in love. So I decided I want to finish my contract and do that in the civilian world, or would be outside of uniform. And so what I had done in the military was actually security. So I worked at a 3-letter agency and I loved it. It was super interesting to me. So I wanted to combine that with programming. And my reasoning was I want to be a little bit more hands-on and a little bit more behind the scenes with the software. So creating that software that people use that makes an impact in day-to-day life for DoD, for DHS, like all those big names, those 3-letter agencies are really important. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to try software engineering, and I applied to Microsoft, and I got the job, and that's what I do now. I work in the Airgap cloud.
So you just mentioned Airgap. What exactly is that? What exactly do Airgap mean?
So when people hear the cloud, they think of their iPhone, right? If they're an iPhone user or they're an Android user, where you upload your photos and files to. So the way that I like to think of the cloud is that something that hangs over your head, right? Like a rain cloud, or you're having a gloomy day, you say, oh, I have this cloud that follows me around, and it never leaves you, right? It's always there. So when you think of the cloud as far as IT, you can think of putting files into something that never leaves, right? That's the best way I think of describing it. Now you have 2 clouds. You have a secure cloud, and you have a public cloud. The public cloud are the clouds that you and I have access to. We can add and remove information like photos and files. And then the Airgap cloud is cut off from the internet. It's cut off from the public. Everything that's in it is secure. I want to make sure that no one is getting in or out, and that if they need to, the integrity is maintained of the data and the people that have access to that data. A lot of companies, especially big IT companies, they want to make sure that their information is secure. So the Airgap cloud has a heightened sense of security.
Okay, so what do you feel is the biggest benefit inside of this field?
The biggest benefit, in my opinion, to this field are the opportunities that exist within it. So a lot of people, when they hear that I'm a software engineer, they think, oh, she's a computer science major, but that's not the case. I'm actually a cybersecurity major. I went to school for cybersecurity and networking, and I was still able to land a job as a software engineer because of my side projects. So interviewers will look at your GitHub, they'll look at the impact you've made, right? So that's important as well. But a lot of people think, when they hear software engineer, they think narrow-minded. They think this is like what I must do. This is the only path. And that's just not the case with any IT job. You'll find several people and you'll be surprised. I work with a senior engineer, and he's actually a business major. He has an MBA. I think that's really cool that he was able to land a software engineering job simply because of how good he was at coding projects, and he had a portfolio to show for it. So I think the opportunities that exist, if you want to switch from one side to the other, I think is a huge benefit.
Okay, so what's something that you did not expect jumping into this field?
So I work in a classified environment, and what that means is that basically I can't talk about specific projects. I can't talk about the way I do certain things. It's just the nature of my role. It's a classified role. Something I did not realize about taking on a classified role was how much I would want to talk about something and how difficult it would be for me to kind of dance around the topic without compromising the integrity of any data, any projects, any companies, which is really important when you work in that kind of environment. So that's something I did not expect. I think that it goes for anyone that enters this field from the public side. The public side would just mean that everyone has access to that information, versus where I'm working in an environment where I have to make sure no one's getting access to that data.
Okay, so you said you work at Microsoft out in Virginia. So can you tell us a little bit about the interview process?
Yes. So I actually interviewed twice for Microsoft. One was for a PM role, which is program manager, and the other one was for a software engineering role. So when you're going for a software engineering role, from my experience, there was two parts to it. The first part was a phone interview, where pretty much you have a recruiter go over behavioral questions with you or think soft skills. And then if you pass that, they'll call you for the second part, where they fly you out to Redmond, Washington. That's where their headquarters are. And you do a panel style interview loop. And pretty much you sit with anywhere from 3 to 5 different people, could be less, could be more. For me, in my case, it was 5 different people, and each person will ask you a different set of questions. Because I was going for a technical role, I did get asked a lot of whiteboarding questions. So the questions were like, create this, this is the problem, create a code that will run, that will help solve this problem. So I would pull up Visual Studio, and then I would make it run. There's other ones that just have you write it on a whiteboard, almost like pseudocode, and then you explain it to them. They want to see that you understand what the code's actually doing, and to see if you truly know your terminology and the algorithms and how they work and how everything comes together. And then you go on to the next person, and that's how it is. The cool thing about my interview was there was a room that had a pinball machine, and that one was just asking me a very informal question about what would I do in a situation with a customer if some servers went down, something like that. I can't remember the exact situation that he gave me, or scenario that he gave me, but it was really cool. The pinball machines were there to help the interviewee relax, and the interviewers were really nice and really respectful, and it was honestly awesome. Even though it was 5 different people, it doesn't feel like 5 different people. Like, it's long, yes, but they're so chill and everyone's so nice that it actually was fun interviewing for them. The second one that I did was the program manager role, or excuse me, the first one I did was the program manager role, and that one was a lot more behavioral based, a lot more scenario based. What would I do with a customer in this situation? How do I handle this type of situation? And there are technical PMs out there. So I do want to say that I've met some technical PMs, because people think that PMs just don't do any type of tech, but that's not true. And like I said earlier, the benefit of being IT is that there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many. A lot of people go from engineering to PMs, and a lot of people go from PMs to engineering. It just depends what you like. People are fluid, they like to change, and Microsoft's really good with that. They're really understanding and supportive of where you want to go in your career path. For college students, they have this cool opportunity for them that they can apply for an internship, and then it increases their chances to apply as a full-time employee. And they don't just take CS degrees, that's just the most common, computer science degrees, but you apply and you have a higher chance of getting accepted as a full-time employee. And I'm pretty sure the process is the same. I didn't go through that exact process because I was in the military, so my experience through that counted as technical experience, because it was hands-on with computer systems and a bunch of things that I did while I was active duty.
What's some unique challenges that you've experienced being in STEM as a woman, and what's some good advice that you could give to somebody that's probably still in college, probably in high school, considering being in STEM, taking that whole tech route? What's some advice that you can give to them?
Some advice I would give is to reach out when you need help. I think everyone knows that a STEM degree is not necessarily easy. There's challenges that are bound to pop up. What separates a lot of people that are able to succeed and graduate is that they ask for help, they push past the fear, they keep going, they don't give up. And I think that's really important. I think that sometimes women may feel embarrassed, especially in a male-dominated field, to ask for help because they don't want to be seen as less than or weaker, but that's never the case. And I want to just always put out there that any man who's also sure of himself would not judge you and assume the worst about you, or call you stupid or anything like that, just because you're asking for help. So remember that when you're about to ask for help and you're worrying about what someone's going to think, or like if you're not good enough, that usually if anyone is going to judge you, it says more about them than you. I want women to know that they're capable, that they're strong, to not let being a woman hold you back, and not let it being the only identifying factor in your whole character. Let it be an empowerment. for you. Let it be empowering and powerful for you to push past those fears, push past the doubts, ask for help when you need it, ask those questions. When you are about to interview and you get your offers, ask people around you, even if they're males, like, hey, what's your salary? Because you do deserve to get paid, especially if there's someone with the same experience or similar experience as you. The same amount as them. Why less? You know, those are questions that are uncomfortable that you have to learn to start getting used to saying. Do the mock interviews, do the resume checks with one another, and just don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. And that's one thing I've noticed, is that a lot of women feel a lot more shame compared to others. But when you stop focusing on like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm this, it's like, you know, and looking at it negatively, or thinking of it like that in that type of mindset, and you're just like, I'm a woman, so what, who cares, you know, like if I can do the job and I'm capable, then why don't I deserve all this, you know? So look at yourself as like that person who is worthy and deserves what they want, and go for it. So go for that degree, and once you graduate, don't stop there. It's because you're going to face challenges once you get those offer packages, and once you're in that job competing with someone next to you for a promotion. Just make sure that you're like, hey, I can do this just as well, if not better. Focus on you as a person, as an individual. And then if you are gonna focus on the woman aspect, then make sure you use it as an empowerment, for an empowering tool for you.
Okay, so what's some online resources that you would say that really helped you, you know, maneuver, understand different coding languages? So what's something that really helped you stay sharp? And on top of that, like, what's your Instagram so that people could keep up with you, you know?
So there's actually a lot of online resources. For me personally, LeetCode was one of them, Pluralsight, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, Free Code Camp was another one. Cracking the Code for Interviews, it's not an online resource, it's a book, but I highly recommend that for anyone that's about to graduate and is going to go interview for companies. For cybersecurity, if you're interested in cybersecurity, I really like Professor Messer on YouTube. He's really good when you're preparing for the certifications, specifically like CompTIA certs. He's awesome for that. So those are some great online resources. I do post a lot about this on my Instagram, which is at roxanna.cs. I hope you guys will find me on there, and feel free to DM me if you have any more questions, or if I was not clear about something, or if you just want to reach out for advice or just to say hi, and I'd be happy to talk further with you. Thank you so much for having me, Andre.
And that concludes this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It really do help my channel when it comes down to the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any questions regarding anything, just hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the gram at DreThePlug123. And then also go check out my other YouTube channel. This is actually my second channel. My first one was called Andre ClassicCuts. I basically go in and give tutorials about all types of different haircuts. I actually show people how to do different type of things with the clippers that has never been done, and I pretty much go into detail as to why certain things happen. So definitely go check out that channel. Besides that, be on the lookout for my next content that's dropping. Be on the lookout for it, because it's coming real soon. And I'm out.